Hey there, Impact Zone fam! How's it going today? We're back here to talk more TNA wrestling shenanigans. And, well, a bunch, 20 plus WWE wrestlers have been released or their contracts have come to an end today. So there is a lot of people that are going to be on this list that we're going to go through. I will say in this list, all the releases or whatever, what have you, all the people that are departing WWE. From what we know right now, this has been a TKO decision in terms of picking up the contracts or not picking up the contracts, etc. So I'm going to go through as many of these as I possibly can. So I don't know where we're actually starting, but and some of these people, it's like, oh, that's pretty surprising that this person's on the list or whatever. Especially some of them, but I sort of want to go through as many as what I can go through. So Nikki Cross, aka Nikki ASH, she's been released, and I'm going to talk more about all of these releases after we've kind of gone through the names. So Zoe Stark, Alba Fair, Joe Gacy, Uncle Howdy. Now where are we? Kairi Sane. Now, there's a few names that I think that are somewhere on this list, but I don't know exactly where they are. Aleister Black, Zelina Vega. I should have said also Uncle Howdy, stroke Bo Dallas, sorry. Already said Nikki Cross. Santos Escobar, the Motor City Machine Guns, Dexter Lumis, Eric Rowan, Apollo Crews. Now, there are some more, I believe. Let's see. Because I think there's a lot of them. Let's see if I can find it. Right. Dante Chen. I don't know why I can't find just a complete list. Oh, maybe this actually has a better list here. Warren, Tara May Steele, Sierra Linton, Tyson, Tyreek, Chris Island, Malik Blaine, Trill London, Lucra Clusro. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing any of these names. Probably am. Did I say Sierra Linton? I don't think I did. But yeah, a bunch of names have been released. Now, some of these, I'll actually say a few of these are people that I think Tyson and Tyreek, they were in TNA for a very short period of time, doing some stuff there a couple of times, actually. Kairi Sane, Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, Nikki Cross, the Motor City Machine Guns, Dexter Lumis, Apollo Crews, Rowan, and some of the other, those are the bigger names. Santos Escobar, whatever. A lot of the other names are a lot smaller of names. Now, I won't say, or I won't ask, I suppose, TNA to pick up literally everyone in this, lot of releases, and I don't expect that they will. Either way. And and maybe I've missed some, I know, but like I can't find I'm not going to sit here for too long to try to find all the names. I am very interested in the Motor City Machine Guns. Like, I think the one thing that they kind of haven't done in their career has won the AEW tag team titles. So if they're looking to round out their career in AEW, go for it, dudes. Like, you guys want to win all the major championships so you can win wherever you've wrestled. I hope to see it. I honestly, and I know that people want to see them and the Motor City Machine Guns one more time. The Young Bucks, whatever. Jesus Christ, I'll get the names fucking right. One last time before they retire. So I would like to see that, but I know I've pooped on them so much and so long, but I know a lot of people want to see, the Hardys versus the Motor City Machine Guns, and it's just a match that has never happened. So it is one of those matches that people would want to see. Aleister Black has already gone to AEW, and he was there, but he really didn't do anything. And it's crazy that he's just recently, realistically, came back to WWE, and now he's being released. Now, I know this is, again, supposedly at least a TKO thing where they were like, nah, these guys aren't shifting things for us, or we just don't see the value in these guys or whatever else it is. So, yeah, we're just letting them go. For me, though, like, those bigger names, I would say, like, you're kind of, I don't know whether you're wrong, but, I think, like, in terms of, like, creative, people are only as valuable as what, I've said this before as well, they're only as valuable as much as what you put into them. You know what I mean? So even though you kind of gave the Motor City Machine Guns a fairly big push and you had them win the tag titles and all this other stuff in coming to WWE and whatnot, I don't really ever think that they really had like this big, huge, like, reason to win the titles. I think, like, the fans mostly kind of helped with that, but again, I don't really think that they ever really had, like, a great story on TV. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but again, I think that, again, that the WWE, the very casual WWE audience didn't know who these guys were. So that really hurt them. And the fact that they came right onto the main roster and it was expected to be like, these guys are basically TNA legends, TNA tag team legends, yeah, I don't know. I think that you need it, like, if you're going to debut a team like that, you need to have, like, a build-up for them. You need video packages, and when they debut, you need, like, interviews and things like that and whatever else it is and that sort of stuff. I don't really think they ever really got that. And, like, they did, I'm sure they had a few good matches and a few good moments, but I couldn't tell you a single thing that they did over there. Maybe that's because I'm not paying that much attention. But, and besides, like, winning the titles, they did win the titles, but those titles have been, like, on the back burner for a long time. And again, like, the WWE, they have 30 belts that they don't need. So again, like, instead of having one set of tag team titles and one set of tag leagues, they're just like, here's a whole bunch of stuff and whatever. We don't know what we're doing, but we don't really care because, again, we're only really focused on the main event. You guys are going to be out there and having matches and whatnot, but whatever. We don't really care. Our main focus is the main event, or whatever, or the main event or guys. So unless you guys are going to become like a proper main event team, we're not really interested. So, like, again, and again, like Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, like Dexter Loomis, all these guys, I can't even remember when they returned. Like it was a couple years ago, wasn't it? As the what was it called? It wasn't. I can't. It wasn't the Fireflies or whatever. What were they called? Not. It wasn't. I can't remember the team name. I can't remember the faction name, bro. But the Bo Dallas thing, where they were like, you know, Uncle Howdy and all of that, they were doing all that, you know, like for a reference to Bray Wyatt and whatnot. And actually, I can't remember what injury Bo had. Was it a broken neck or something? Something. I can't even. I don't even know if he's even wrestled, dude. But has he? Like, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know. But I know that they had that great interview that they had there and whatnot, and that debut and everything like that. But after that, like they certainly won the tag team titles and like have been here and there and whatnot or whatever. But like again, like they really haven't done a whole lot. And I said before, like, and a lot of people were saying, why isn't Alexa Bliss, you know, doing stuff with them or whatever? I don't know, you know, and this just again, you're releasing all the guys in that, you know, I don't know. I think Kyrie, she's very much like she was in Japan for a long, long, long period of time, and again saying, hey, here she is back on the in 30 days or in 60 days or whatever else it is. But still, she's going to be back on that, probably back into that scene. That's insane. Like Zelina Vega, she's like, she was in TNA for a while. I don't know if she's ever gone to AEW, but like, I don't know whether like, and obviously like you say, oh, well, her husband's been there and whatever. But here, like I've said it so many times, like it's like TNA is a great, in many ways, a great ground for a lot of people to go to because like there are so many opportunities you can, and again, it's a great place to reinvent yourself. You know, if you're Aleister Black, why would you go back to AEW? I mean, like, what was who? Andrade, he went back to AEW, which I was like, why would you do that, dude? Why wouldn't you go to do something else? Like, you were there in AEW, like, and you weren't being used, but it's like, I guess, like, again, I say this so many times, I guess some people don't give a shit and just, like, yeah, it's fine, I'm getting paid, so as long as I'm getting paid, I don't give a shit. You know, bro, to me, again, this is what you've worked for decades and for years. And if you just want a paycheck to exist, I can understand it, especially in like the cost of living crisis that is going on and whatnot and things like that. But again, you know, again, it's just to me, especially having had those lofty ideas and dreams and whatnot myself, and having to go through some of the trials and tribulations, it's like, dude, why, like, I can understand in some ways, but just in a complete other way, again, I can't really understand it. I can't, like, I could understand, like, saying, hey, okay, I'm tired or whatever, and maybe I'm going to take a few weeks off or something like that. That, to me, is a bit different. Hey, I'm sick of the grind or whatever. Yeah, I could understand that, but if you're just like, dude, hey, I just don't care anymore, then what? Like, I can get that, like, there's not much else out there in many ways, but again, like, why wouldn't you just retire at that point, you know, like, or why wouldn't you go somewhere and say, hey, you know, this is going to be my last few years or whatever else it is. Like, again, like physically in the ring. So, hey, if I want to go to AEW at some point, that door is probably probably always open. So, hey, how about I go there later in my career and say, hey, if I still want to be active, really active in my career, and like these guys could go to the indies and whatnot. Obviously, they could do that for a while or whatever. Look at Matt Cardona. He was in the indies for a long time, bro. He was in AEW and TNA and he did stuff. But again, I don't like, there's not a lot of people that are in here besides like the big names that I really would be all that interested in, because like maybe not even Uncle Howdy, because I would, or Bo Dallas, whatever, because I would be like, yeah, what would you come here for? You know what I mean? Like, almost with everybody else, I would say, okay, there is some reason for you to come here, or some reason to be like, okay, well, I guess I'll go there and try to prove myself, or whatever, or at least be part of that locker room, or at least see how we go. Maybe I won't be world champion, but I might be in the main event for a while, or I might, that's the thing, like in TNA, if you go to TNA, for a lot of these people, hey, well, I'll probably be treated fairly well for a while. I'll be in the upper part of the card for a while. I'll have some, and not like we can take absolutely everybody, and we shouldn't look to take absolutely everybody. But again, saying, hey, well, why would I go to AEW when I'm gonna be debuted? And then people are going to forget about me because, like, again, AEW just does that. Unless, like, you're their pet project. It's like, oh, okay, there's so many people that are going there that are just like, debut, disappear. Then maybe return, like 6, 7, 8 months later, whatever else it is. Or even a year later, or even like 2 years later, or just like, you're demoted down to Ring of Honor, or demoted down to Collision, or whatever else it is, no matter how good seemingly you are, or whatever else it is. It's like, yeah, if you're not like our hand-picked guys, like we just don't have time for you. Same thing with WWE. It's like, you're not our hand-picked guys, so we don't have time for you. And I know TNA can feel the same, but it's like, at least like, if you say, no, you know what? I am going to make myself the marketable thing. I could break out and I could be the next superstar. That's what these guys have to think to themselves, like, if they want to get anywhere and do anything in TNA or in anywhere. Like, I don't know what their perspective on it is. I understand, like, hey, if I get paid and I'm happy doing what I'm doing, hey, that's cool. That's what I want to do. I think it's so shit in WWE, like, again, that Tico can do this, and just like, I do think, though, again, it has been a big problem of WWE being like, this roster is way too bloated. There are way too many people on here. We're just not doing enough with enough of them. Let's let some of them go, and let's move on. Let's let things. Let's let some of these people go. Let's focus in more on, like, again, you do need the good dance partners for those people that are your pet projects, so to speak. But again, when you've got so many people that you're just like, we don't care, or we just don't have time for, it's like, well, maybe let some of them go. Let some of them go so that you can go, okay, all right, if they come back in 6 months, a year, whatever else it is, and they're more marketable, hey, maybe we'll pick them up. But, other than that, we really don't care. Like, if they become big, hey, well, that's cool. Great, good for them. Maybe we're interested then, and maybe Tico will be like, oh yeah, well, they're a draw now, so okay. But again, even Aleister Black, I think Aleister is a pretty big draw, or a potential pretty big draw, honestly. Especially if you book him right, So, and again, it's like, who else is on this list that's sort of been released a fair bit? Or no, that's pretty much it. Or maybe Kyrie has. I think Kyrie was under Vince, maybe, or maybe she was just off TV for a long time. Wasn't wasn't was she was in the Kabuki Warriors for a while. And she was like, she always had that feud with Asuka, didn't she? They were doing gonna do a big feud with her and Asuka, weren't they? I think. You know, um, I don't know, but yeah, I think there are some solid hands here as well. Not the good hands or the great hands, but some solid hands here. But like beyond, like, as I said, the big names, like, yeah, I can see, like, there, like, a lot of these guys or a lot of these gals or whatever, yeah, sure, they really hadn't made a big splash yet, but that's also not just on them, but it's on you saying, hey, we expected too much, or we didn't give them the time to kind of, or maybe, hey, send them back to send some of these guys, well, some of these guys are in NXT, but, send some of these guys back to down to NXT and say, okay, you know, this is your last chance, sort of thing. Like, I hate that, but again, it's like, at least then that would give NXT a bit more of a boost, because again, NXT, like, has been gutted recently, and this won't help because again, a lot of a fair few of these people are from NXT. So again, we're trying our best here to follow along with what's going on and that sort of thing. So let's see. Also, there's been a few discussions about, like, people from NXT being moved up to the main roster, and there's also been talk of, like, recent WWE signings. So, like, it's not like, I don't want to say this is all bad or this is all good or whatever else it is or whatever, but it is one of those things that, is a little bit like, oof. But yeah, like, I just don't know. I think, like, Aleister Black is the one person. Well, maybe Dexter actually was in TNA once upon a time as well. Actually, that's people forget about that. I'm pretty sure Apollo Crews might have been in TNA at one point as well. Actually, but yeah, like, I would say if anyone is in this list that I would say TNA needs to try to really hone down on, it is Aleister Black, because I feel like he has had so many missed opportunities, and what he needs to be is just this badass, killer, main event level guy, main event level heel draw. That's what he needs to be. And somewhat spooky wooky, but, like, more like, he was gonna do that 7 deadly sins thing, or whatever. I think just do that. Prey on people's, like, again, prey to people's, like, animalistic sort of instincts or whatever else it is. Tell people to cheat on their wife. Tell people to do bad things or whatever. You want to, etc. Like, even play into the cultural climate and the political climate, like, that sort of thing. I think that would be interesting. I think that would be something that he would be able to get himself into, and he would be a great fit in that position. I think if Zelina was to come to TNA, I do ask the question of, like, well, what, not so much what would you do with her, but what would her gimmick be more so? Not that she really needs a gimmick, but like just something else to add to she's here and she exists. You know what I mean? Like, you need a little bit more than that. I don't know. I feel like Nikki Cross as well. Like, are you gonna, like, you couldn't bring her in and be like, now she's gonna do the Nikki ASH thing in TNA, or now she's gonna do that, like, more spooky sort of, you know, sort of thing that she was doing in that group with the Wyatt Six and whatnot. I would think that she would have to be more of an, like, when she was in NXT, more of the MMA fighter kind of crazy chick kind of thing if she was coming in. Kind of feel like Dexter Lumis would be very similar in that regard. But everyone else, or pretty much everyone else, all the more lower mid-card guys, I would say, like, instead of just bringing them in, actually, I think Tyreek and, what's his name? Tyson, since those guys were already in TNA, it's like, yeah, maybe we should bring them in because they are a tag team and the tag team needs some more blood in it, especially new blood. But I would say, hey, okay, well, they can't just be, you know, two black dudes coming in. You know what I mean? Like, they need something else. Like, and you could reference, hey, they were here before and they were trying to take over, but now it's a, you know, they've got a proper, I don't know, game plan or whatever else it is, or that now they're actually 100% focused here or whatever else it is, sort of thing. I don't know. Maybe like some of that in there, certainly, but like, I don't know. The one thing about, funny thing or weird thing about this is that if any of these people, well, I would think at least one or two of these people will go to TNA. Not maybe not all of them, obviously, but like, again, a lot of them will go to different places. Maybe some will go to AEW. Maybe some will just go to the Indies, whatever. But again, saying, hey, where are these guys or gals or whatever going or whatnot? Yeah, like, there's only, like, if they want major money, yes, you can do the Indies like Matt Cardona did, but, you know, you really got to know what you're doing and that sort of thing, and really be focused in on it and really be getting out there and all that sort of stuff, not just existing. And you've really got to make yourself a drawer, not just, I'm here and I exist. That's very cool, but again, like, you need to make yourself something, especially if you want to, like, again, like, I know Cora or Enya Black, she's earning more money from OnlyFans than she's earning from wrestling. But, you know, she's earning a lot from freaking OnlyFans. But still, like, you know, hey, if she doesn't need to worry about the money, and she's like, hey, you know what? I don't want the super schedule that WWE had me in. It was way too much. And hey, I can pursue my other projects or my other stuff sometimes here in TNA. I still need to make the tapings or the broadcasts or whatever else it is. But I said this with TNA's, or I don't know whether I actually said this with TNA's new taping schedule or pay-per-view schedule or whatever, that it actually really helps the talent as well. I think I may have mentioned it, but I was like, it means the talent don't have to, you know, turn up as much. And yes, that can be a good thing and a bad thing. But if you're saying, hey, we're going to focus more on the TV sort of side of things, and then we're going to focus more on the, you know, 3 monthly, 4 monthly pay-per-views or whatever, you know, that will be way better because you just get more time to set these things up and less of like, okay, I've got to go back to work, sort of thing. Now, hey, there's still tapings coming up, whatever. Yeah, sure, I've got to go to those. But when you have absolute dates, it's like, okay, I've got to work around those absolute dates. You know what I mean? And having less of those absolute dates means that you can be like, okay, cool, great. I can do my OnlyFans, or I can do my podcasts, or I can do this, I can do that, I can do this meet and greet, I can do that, I can do this signing, I can, even if you're going to get some of these creepy fans that she got apparently at I think that was WrestleCade. I can't remember now, but yeah, just doing more of that stuff and saying, hey, what is it that I am doing? Why am I here? Or what is my goal? Why am I working with this person? And why, like, especially for people that are like more established, I would say, like Enya and people like that, is like, dude, especially like the Motor City Machine Guns, I said, like, I would love to have them here, obviously, but like, it is like, well, obviously you could say, well, there's Slammiversary right there, and then there's Lockdown, and then there's Bound for Glory. You know what? Hall of Fame, So, or even if, like, just that one thing saying, hey, look, AEW, we know that shit went down here and there between us, but this isn't about you, me, us, them, whatever. It's about the fans. This is about putting these guys in the Hall of Fame and saying these guys are TNA legends. And you recognize that too. You know the importance of history, even if they're under your locker room or whatever else it is, and all of that stuff. Will you let us put them in there, and maybe we'll make some concessions to give you something in return, So, hey, I think that's something that is, and they should do the same thing with Christopher Daniels. They should say, hey, AEW, we know, some things have gotten, a little bit here and there between us, but hey, you know what? You have one of our legends over there. We want to honor him. This is not about us. This is not about you. This is not about, the feud that we have or whatever else it is or whatnot. This is about saying, hey, we want to put this guy in the Hall of Fame because he deserves it. He deserves it. Same thing with like Samoa Joe. He deserves to be in the TNA Hall of Fame. And, again, like, despite how old Joe is now, like, and whatnot, I think that, they need to mend that bridge. They need to mend that fence to an extent and just be like, yeah, come on. Shit happens sometimes, and, it is what it is. Hey, you took things from us too. We've taken you, like, come on. This hasn't just been a one-way street of we did bad things to you, so we're, whatever. No, you've done bad things to us, but we'll forgive you for that, and you should forgive us for that, for some of the bad things we've done to you, but that is business sometimes. This is not about that at this point. This is about legacy, whatever. But yeah, I could say very much, like, if you're bringing in the Motor City Machine Guns, there's not much, honestly, for them to do in that tag team division for the most part. Like, maybe facing the Hardys, maybe you could get that, but, like, again, I don't know. Like, realistically, it's like, yeah, it'd be a big match, but it'd be like, again, probably, in my opinion, it would be a letdown, I think. But yeah, whatever. Besides that, okay, last little hurrah here, I think, before we go. I've already sort of covered everything, but Eric Rowan, he was in AEW for a hot minute after what's the name? Luke Harper's death. And Luke Harper Jr. is out there on the Indies wrestling, I think he is out there and doing stuff. So honestly, I kind of feel like if Bo Dallas Rowan Rowan is gonna do anything, that they're gonna do stuff with, Brody Lee's kid. So, and like I think Brody Lee's kid is just too young at this point to come to TNA. He needs to be at least 18, I think, to come to TNA properly. Like, and wrestle and stuff like that. He could be like in the audience or in the arena or, whatever, that sort of thing. Like, I know in WWE they had like a 9-year-old win the tag team titles, but it's like that really doesn't count, I don't think. And that was just stupid. Anyway, I think it was a funny moment or whatever. It was a moment, and it was like, oh yeah, whatever. But it really demonetized the tag team titles, which were, already on a downward slope. And it was like, yeah, great. Like it is history making in some ways, but again, it's like, well, whatever. But still, it's crazy. But still, like, again, that would be where I would see them doing something, but I wouldn't be able to see them doing that in TNA for at least a couple more years. So, yeah. And maybe he would go to AEW. I could see that happening, honestly, because that's where, Brody died and whatnot. So, and he's already kind of had a lot of connection with Tony Khan and with a lot of AEW wrestlers and things like that. So I could see that happening more so. But I don't think that Uncle Howdy gimmick will ever really cross over into AEW. I feel like it would just be Bo Dallas more so, or more of a, like, I don't know, more of what the Bo Dallas that you kind of saw in the interviews in WWE, where it's like he got really real and really passionate and really, like stuff about his brother and all of that stuff and about his injury and all that sort of stuff. It would be more like that. It would be more like the real guy and whatnot. I don't know about Rowan because it is like, well, starts to be that question of like, is Rowan and Brody Lee Jr. going to be a tag team? That could work. That could actually be kind of good. Maybe. Because you got the young, speedy, athletic kid and the big monster wall. That could kind of work. And you've got the Uncle Howdy mentor sort of in the corner, so to speak. That could kind of work, actually. I mean, that would work anywhere. But still, you see what I mean? It's like, that's the concept that I would say, this is what we're going to do, kind of thing. But yeah. I really wouldn't know what they would do with just about anybody else because they already had Aleister Black. They barely did anything with him. And again, like maybe they would do something with the Motor City Machine Guns and the Young Bucks. But like beyond that, I really wouldn't see what they would do with them. So, I mean, they've got a tag team league there and whatnot, obviously. But again, FTR have been there for a long time. So maybe, yeah, they could do something with FTR. But beyond that, there just isn't that many, like, big tag teams. Like, there aren't that many big tag teams. Like, they haven't really become, like, a fixture. And that's the same thing in TNA. I will say that too. But, like, if you have somebody who is a tag team, you need to make them the tag team. You need to make them, hey, these are our guys, like, whatever. Not, oh, they're here, like, yeah, you need to, if you've got a tag team coming, you've got to be, like, that's why I said, like, before, it's like, with the Nemeths, like, winning the tag team titles. Okay, now they've got to be a tag team for the next 3 years or whatever. They've got to be tagging consistently. They cannot, like, break apart. They, like, so many teams have, like, broke apart and just like, oh, okay, we never see them again, whatever. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. You've got to have tag teams. You've got to have these tag teams be consistent. You've got to have them there and doing stuff, and that's the only way that tag teams can become something, as if they're, again, going to, you continue to be a team. They can't just break up and then be like, oh, well, that's over in 6 months or even in a year. It's like, yeah, no one, like, again, that whole emotional connection. You don't have that emotional connection to these guys who just formed last week and they're now breaking up. It's like, 6 months later or whatever it is. It's like, yeah, we don't care because you just got together, like, realistically. And maybe that is to build you both up into the next ranks or whatever. But again, if you're in that tag team scene, it's like, well, that tag team scene has already been, kind of lackluster. And yes, you have a few great teams or whatever and whatnot, but you really haven't showcased new teams. You've just had the Young Bucks and FTR and whatnot. That's basically been it. Like, there have been other tag teams, sure, but they haven't really, like, Private Party and whatnot, but they really have not been onto the level of, like, and Sting and Darby, but, like, that was, like, gonna be a short-lived team either way. But still, like, again, you haven't really showcased any other major teams. You haven't really established, another Motor City Machine Guns or another Young Bucks or another whatever. You've had other people kind of form alliances, and like, again, like, maybe that's the problem of having a trios titles or whatever else it is as well. It's like, yeah, that's great and all to have all this stuff going on, but it's like, yeah, but you're dividing up even more of your guys into more divisions where they don't really need to be. Instead of, like, saying, okay, well, we might have a trios here or a trios there or whatever else it is, or we might have trios matches or whatever, but there's no trios titles. There's just, like, the groups that are 3-man, 4-man, 5-man, whatever, and take advantage of the numbers game or whatever. And, somehow the 2-man squads have got to, figure that, out to break the not the monopoly, but the numbers game. Yeah. So, yeah. No, I just don't know with this. I think, like, everyone in this has potential in some ways, but then again, like, I would say that, but again, like, it is, you never can say never sort of thing. You never know who's gonna break out, like, because anyone can. If somebody's, like Santana, a lot of people were kind of like, he's there and he's a tag team guy and, whatever, da 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 da. But then when he came back to TNA as a singles guy, it was like, oh, okay, well, he might be an upper card guy or whatever. But then it was like, oh, no, this is the man. This is one of the main event level guys, definitely, 100%. Because not only had he, like, reinvented himself and, whatever, he had come to not play. You know what I mean? He'd come to be like, no, I'm going to be the man. I am going to be the superstar. I am going to make myself the thing that is the part that makes this work now. And he got very lucky in very many ways, certainly in some ways he didn't get lucky somewhat as well, because like, hey, you've got to contend with like Joe Hendry is here and he's super popular. So obviously like he's probably going to get that belt before you are. And while he's holding that belt, you've probably got not much chance to hold it. But then it's like, oh, well, WWE really wants him. And well, there he goes to WWE, we guess. So now we've got to move on. And well, there's Santana right there. So let's put that belt on him and let him carry the company for a while. And I think like they're still recovering from that. And just like, even if it's in 30 days or 60 days or whatever else it is, it's like, yeah, but still that will be a great lot of additions to the roster. And it's like April now, right? End of April. Right? Yeah. So it won't be till March, April, May, and then June, like nearly the end of June. Hey, that's Slammiversary time, roughly. I mean, like, again, maybe you're not going to have all of these people debut at Slammiversary or whatever else it is, or even like just for an appearance they're gonna come in or whatever. And I don't know if the dates exactly line up or whatever else it is. Or maybe you can say to WWE, hey, is it all right if we do it? If we do something with them over here and it's like a couple of days beforehand or whatever, you know. I don't know. And maybe WWE is smart enough to be like, yeah, sure, whatever. We don't care. you know. But maybe they're mean enough to be like, nah, screw you. Because they've done that would be more likely in my opinion, honestly, but still. It is what it is, guys. Yeah, but anyway, I think that's pretty much it. You guys get the gist. You guys get it. You guys know that a lot of these guys, they've got to, like, they've got to take time to say, okay, how am I going to reinvent what I'm going to do? Am I going to, like, especially if you're a tag team guy, like the TNT connection that I still don't know their names because they're too goddamn similar and whatever. But yeah, like, what are we going to do? Why? Well, like the Motor City Machine Guns, there's like not much more that we can do to reinvent ourselves, but like a new place and a fresh coat of paint. Hey, we're here, and that's probably why they'll go to AEW. Like, good luck to them. As I say, I don't have anything bad about them. It's just the, the company that they're going to. And then I'm against AEW. It's just like, but here you guys are, and it's like, what are you doing with all these talent that you've got? And it's like, oh, we don't know. Too many talent to care, So, but yeah, I would much rather these talent go somewhere else. And even TNA can't take them all. Like I said, if TNA took them all, they'd be like, oh man, what are we going to do with all this talent that we just brought in? So, but saying, hey, we're going to bring some of these guys in to do something for a short period of time or whatever else it is, just to be like, oh, okay, it could be worthwhile, could be worth something. And even again, like some of these guys, some of these gals, whatever, are in NXT or have those NXT level deals where they only have 30 days. So, by the end of the next month, they'll be potentially free agents. So, yeah, we'll wait and see for anyone to turn up. Because at the end of the day, like I said this, or I think somebody was saying this with like Saraya or Paige going to WWE. Like a lot of people were expecting her to turn up after WrestleMania, but she turned up at WrestleMania. Yeah. And I think it was like on the day of, or maybe like whatever it was, a little bit beforehand. It's like, oh, some reports are saying, oh yeah, she's signed with WWE, she's gone back to WWE, and she'd been saying, hey, I want to go back to WWE, I want to go back to WWE for ages, and whatnot. So yeah, like obviously, okay, cool, that's where you're going, that's fine. never come to TNA. Never. You know, instead of doing something different and something new and something unique or whatever, you know, no, I'll just go back to WWE. I'll just ignore everything that they're doing and whatnot, but I'll go to WWE. But whatever. It is what it is. But anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed this one either way, and hope to see you again in another one.